Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm downtown Columbus, Georgia, on the Georgia side of the river. From a Bible perspective, the Bible told the children of Israel a lot of events that have happened in their history to write it down and to tell their children and loved ones about the great things God has done for them. And so we need to remember the goodness of God and also some of our history. I'm outside of a little construction area downtown 7th Street. This building over here, I had been inside of it before they started all this construction. There were some other things here. I don't quite remember what all was here. But this building, I had, I don't know whether I've been, no, it's gated up. I can see the gate, so I'm sure I walked around it. But there were some other things here. I'm not quite sure whether that was a building that some slaves slept in or was some other type of buildings during that era. Been a long time since I've been here. There was some other things out here when I did go in there and visit or walk around it. As you can see, it got a little walkway there, and I'm not sure exactly what that was that I was looking at, but I know it's from we would just say the Civil War area, just to get some type of time frame, but it's pretty old. You all hear me talk about my four-legged friend. He's with me. He be with me most of the time. My daughter brought this dog over, and we named him Bruno also. We got another Bruno buried on the side of the house that got that disease, Fargo, or whatever. We spent about $700 on the last dog. He died. This one, we saved him. He got it. They said it'd be in the dirt. We spent about $400 on him. Now, my daughter brought the dog over, and we'd had a couple of dogs stolen. And when these gifts are brought over, these pets, as you see, I'm the one that turns out to be the babysitter. I'm doing most of the babysitting, but we had a beautiful poodle, some type of bigger than that, a nice, beautiful white poodle, and he was, I'm sure, stolen. And I got an idea who I think stole it, but I can't prove it. This is the Coca-Cola Space Science Center. So I believe it's free to go inside. I think I stopped by one day, but the operational hours, it wasn't open. And I don't know whether there's a fee to go in there or not. Now, this is part of Columbus State University, but this is the Coca-Cola Space Center. Now, Coca-Cola has a history. Part of their history comes back to Columbus, Georgia. The Coca-Cola headquarters, as you know, is up in Atlanta, Georgia. So this is our little space center, and I'm not going to try to do it today, but I'm going to try to get a visit inside. I'm just showing you some of the things that are around here near the river in Columbus, Georgia. This building, I don't want to say right quick I have to get a look on the other side, but it may be part of Columbus State University, and look like there's somebody inside in the exercise room. I'm not sure as that's the back of one of the hotels or motels, and so I don't want to say because I'm in the back of it and not familiar with it. Over here where we have a lot of events, over here, the Ironworks, and up above us, when Tyler Perry come here, I think he was up there at the theater, or was it the Ironworks? I did not go to the Medill show, but I did see a lot of their trucks and vans and buses roll in, and saw some of them parked on the side of the road. But this is the Columbus Coca-Cola Space Science Center and cooperation or whatever they got going on with Columbus State University. I am down by the river, so I'm still on the Georgia side of the river. So just walking around the building, the Columbus, there's a lot of things in there to see. I'm over here by the main entrance, so there's a lot of things to see. And I see they have a observatory on top, so they probably come down here at night, probably university students, and observe the cosmos. But this is the Coca-Cola Science Center. I would make a visit one day and go inside of it and see exactly what's in there. So that's what I'm doing, walking around on the Georgia side of the river, showing you some of the attractions that we have. I'm going to go and untie my four-legged friend, I call him, because I'm going to walk over to some other markings, and I don't want to get too far away from him. I don't want the authorities to come by, and then they got to stop and see who pet it is and go through all of that. But give me a second. I'm going to untie my four-legged friend, and then we're going to walk over and look at some other things. Just about got him untied. Need to get him a better leash because he is destructive. He would chew the leash apart, and I had two dogs at one time, and the little dog decided to chew on the harness I had on the large dog, as though to say, "I get you out of here, I will free you, set you free." Now we're going to walk over here and see what's over here. I don't remember. I have been to a lot of these markings, and I don't remember them all offhand. But as I said, we're on the Columbus, Georgia side of the river, and they have trails and markings, things to see. And where we are going is still next to the Coca-Cola Science Center. There's a big bell there, and kind of having some recollection as to what that is. But we're on it's a Bicentennial Plaza. I have to really read that and concentrate and study. I got in, said something about the 200 bicentennial I think this might have been put up to celebrate that. And looked like a church bell. Get a little closer. I think this bell come from one of our local churches. I was trying to be a little careful there because you have waltzes, hunnets, or whatever. They're up there flying around. You don't watch it. My head will be twice the size it is now when they get a hold of me. So you can't see the river, barely see it, but I'm on the Columbus side of the river. I'm up on the banks of the river and walking along, and there are some historical markers here. You can kind of see the walk down there. That's the river down through there. And always try to be careful and watchful and don't assume. Assumption can get you in trouble. I forgot what this was. Like I said, it's been a long time. Got a lot of markers. I've been talking about the Department of the Interior. Like I said, some of these I would have to read and concentrate on it and study a little bit to really see what it's about. There are some more markers down here on this side of the river, Columbus, Georgia side of the river. I'm on the upper bank, walking along the path up here on the upper bank and in the tree line, so it's hard to see the river down there, but it's right down at the bottom, and just showing some markers here on the Columbus side of the river. Earlier, I was over at the Coca-Cola Space Center that is also ran by the Columbus State University. Some of these markers, I just let you glance at them. I won't try to get deep into the history of them because I have to read. But some of these artifacts, what you're looking at, they come from, I just used the time period, the Civil War, that or before, and some of these pieces, they just use them, put them on display because they're old and they use them for this. A lot of the buildings here have been somewhat remodeled, but not all of the historical construction parts have been destroyed because it's a historical district and they don't want it destroyed. Now, as you look, I think all of these homes are part of the historical district, and the owners are allowed to do certain things. They won't allow them to remove certain things from these buildings because they consider it historical. There is a plaque. I don't know where it's at. I have to go and look for it again. The bridges that we have here, one of them, it gives homage to a slave, either worker or one of the guys that built the first bridge, or one after it burned down. They have to go back and look at the history of it. And he was good at that type of work. And the controversy going on with a statement that DeSantis, or whatever his name is in Florida, made, that slaves learn skills by being a slave, which we know that is ludicrous, or however you pronounce it, not true. Some of them, by working, yes, they did pick up skills, but a lot of these people already had the skills. And if you do some studies, that's why a lot of them was put in certain places to do things, because they knew how to do it. And a lot of people was taken from Africa as far as that side and brought over here. Why? The people saw them doing certain things in Africa. They knew how to do it. That's why they brought them over here. You don't want to bring nobody over here who don't know how to do anything. All right, this is one of our, I call it a little outdoor theater. And look like it got a little age on it. Now, I was in the military here, and after that I was in and out of trucking for 23 years. So a lot of these things that when they built them and designed them, and some of them that was brand new, I was still working. So by the time I retired, and so this is what I see. I hadn't, during the time, got to enjoy a lot of these things when they was built, since I've been here, because I was working. I was over the road truck driver. Now, at the 1996 Olympic, when it came to Georgia, it gave us a great big boost. So when we hosted the Olympic, there was a lot of infrastructure we needed to get put in place for these different events to take place. And a lot of things around here come out of that. Now, these cannons, what they're showing here, as far as I can remember, by me being a military man, and it reflects back, I can kind of remember this more. The placement of these cannons, I think, are actually based on where they was placed. They put these cannons here, so when you come up and down the river during the war, these guys up here going to be blasting you. These cannons are facing the river. So this part of the river that people may navigate on the waterways coming up, and if you're the enemy, these guys up here on the hillside, sitting up here with these cannons, they're going to start blasting you. Now, I don't know how much cleaning they have done at the bottom of the river, but I think they have done some cleanings, because there are and were vessels in the bottom that had been sunken by whatever means, but so I think they did get a lot of them out. So we're still walking on I would call it the upper level. Been walking down the side of the Alabama side, the Georgia side of the river on the other end here. It goes a long way, and if you study the Chattahoochee River, it goes all the way through Florida, and they go and dump into the ocean. Now, I don't know the status of the legal fight, but Alabama, Georgia, and Florida was involved in a little scrimmage, we might say, and basically that was over this water. You know, one state may want to do something, may want to put up a dam, or may want to divert water this way or that way, but I don't know the full status of the fight. It should be over about now, but they had a little run-in on deciding what can be done with the water infrastructure you want to put in concerning this river. By 1860, 3,265 slaves and 100 free blacks lived in Columbus. Many of both groups worked as skilled craftsmen or mechanics. I won't try to read the rest because those of us that know something about history know that the idea that slaves was unskilled is, crazy. Any of us would go on the job and may pick up some knowledge or new skills, but basically when you're hired on a job, that's why they hired you, because you had some type of skills that they was looking for. And it would be kind of crazy to bring a bunch of folks over here and say, we're going to cut down trees, plant crops and all that, and I got to teach you all of that. No, they saw these people doing this in Africa, and not all of us come from Africa. I don't want to get too deep into that now, but we had some skills to offer. As I said, the river goes a long ways, goes to Florida, and this walkway go all the way to Fort Moore now. It used to be Fort Benning when I come here. And this walkway, and we got some other paths that goes all through town. We got a bike trail that goes all the way through town, the north side, all the way up through the university. And you get on this walkway, I don't know the mileage, but you go to walk in this, I don't know where you're going to end up. It's going to take you a ways up that river. As I said before in another recording, and I was said this way, we have to be careful. We can't get too excited and too gullible on certain things, or we can end up hurt or dead. And I put it this way. You come down here to this river, in one sense, and you will mess around and find out if you get in the right spot. And they got a 16-foot gator that was pulled out of here, and they have it in the museum. And so sometimes that's what happens to people. We just get so relaxed and doing things. And most of the time, this is my opinion, they are here, but since you have a lot of people doing things around the river, the gators, a few of them, I suspect what they do, they just go somewhere and get in their little corner and somewhat don't want to be bothered. But they may navigate up and down these waters. Now, I heard a story, I don't know, I wasn't there, that the police was chasing a guy. He ran out, that's further up the river, to the water and got in the water a little bit. And they said a gator came up and snatched him. So how true that is, I don't know. But now I see a fish there. Yes, under the surface. Yes, going down there. When I first saw him, I thought it was a snake. He just went by. Just barely saw him. There he is again. It might be a catfish. I see him. I don't know whether the camera would pick him up. But as I say, I'm on the Georgia side of the river. And that's the Alabama side. There's a home over there on this end. I'm further down the river. And as you go down, the landscape changes. And you see different things. A lot of people's hanging out, camping out, sleeping out here. They kind of clean that up a little bit, somewhat. Don't see many. Up there on one bridge, it was like Camp City. Under the bridge, they built a big fence around it. Now, in the fence of the city and states in our nation, I know we have a problem with homelessness and other things, but I have been a part of the system somewhat, as a veteran. And a lot of time help is available if you just obey the rules. And there are some peoples that have some problems. I just saw a guy at the restaurant I just ate some breakfast at, one of our consumers. I don't know what's his problem, office meds, family member died or something ain't taken care of. I don't know, but some of them doing well and some of them look bad. But there are some help, but in certain circumstances, it's going to be a revolving door with homelessness, because for a couple of years people do all right or won't take their medicine. A lot of things go back and forth. Then you see them back in treatment and you think they're doing well and they're looking good. And you may see some on the street and they look well, doing well out on the streets. But homeless peoples are around, and there are help for a lot of them. Some of them do great. They go through the program, get themselves together. But so far, walking, only seen one person laying down sleep from where I have walked to this point. But this is a look on the Georgia side of the river. I'm on the Georgia side of the river in Columbus, Georgia. I was up there at the Coca-Cola Space Center, so I had to walk down here. I got my little walking exercise in. I need to walk, and I'm going to head back to the van. I think I'd have done enough for today, and it's going to get hot. And I don't want to overdo it. My little friend here, he's determined to keep wrapping around my legs and like he want to trip me up. And he keep running toward people, all depending on what move he in. And the guy, this little friend of mine's here, he don't know the difference between a dog probably 10 times his size, head about big as his body. He see him and he want to run over there and bully him. I'm going to head back to the van, and later on I'll do some more videotaping about the Georgia side of the river. And I thank you all for your participation. And I don't know what we're going to do with that four-legged friend here. He's getting to be a little out of hand. He want to be bad. He better stay on this side of the river.